Broadcasting live from America's California, Orlando, Florida. This is time for the show, your weekly Hypercubist radio ministry update, along with your sub-ether firmware update. Complimentary OTAs from the big boys at the HGO. I am so excited to bring you into a very special episode, and of course we can't have a very special episode without a very special someone, but I think he left, so let's go get Peas. Say hi, Peas! Yeah!
Do you ever wonder?
Yeah.
You ever wonder why they call them cherry sours? Because they're not really sour. They're kind of sweet. I like them.
They don't make they make these. Actually, I've got some right now. I can use this high definition camera. I actually have an inflamed gum right now. Look at that, right there.
Oh, it's inflamed.
Just right in there. It's the miracle of the internet. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about with the cherry sours, when you because they're sweet, they're tangy. Right? I think they're kind of sour.
Tangy. They're not really sour though. They're just
like a bristle against my gum. So I can feel that right now. Without eating a cherry sour, I'm already feeling the effects of it on my gums. You know, that's a fantastic. Oh, you got a whole tub of them. So that's the great part about not having any teeth, is that you get to eat whatever you want all the time. Is that the idea? Is that how it works?
Well, no, I quit drinking, and so I gotta have like sugar in me all the time now.
Oh, you're an Irish diabetic.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to wean off the sugary drinks and stuff now, because it's been, I guess it's not fair to say I quit drinking. I quit drinking at home, and I only drink socially, and that's maybe I'll have a drink, like a beer or something like that.
What's a beer? What kind of beers do you drink?
I prefer Orange Blossom by, what's the name of that company that sponsored us at X Day with all that wonderful free beer?
The back in the day guys?
Back in the day, Orange Blossom IPA.
You're almost there. Almost there.
Wonderful people. Maybe a more of a summer type ale next year, though.
Are you chewing a cherry sour while you're doing the show?
No.
I thought I saw you sneak one in there.
No, absolutely.
I know you're out in Las Vegas. That's Magic Land. You're loading them for later.
That would be bad form.
You ever go out in the streets and do like the shell game with cherry sours? Like, watch the cherry sour. Where does it go? And then you give them, and then when they pull up in the last cup, you give them a little tube of toothpaste. You say, it goes straight to your teeth. Take care of that. There's a lot of avenues in Las Vegas that could be used to incentivize things like dentistry and orthodontics. Las Vegas seems like a place. You'd be surprised
how angry. You'd be surprised to see how angry the parents get when you try to give their kids free candy in the shell game. Right
outside of the. What's the Chuck E. Cheese's like in Las Vegas?
We don't have any. We used to have
one, right?
We don't. I don't think there is one in Vegas anymore. I think the Chuck E. Cheese is out of business. They had a thing called Chi-Chi's, which is like a pizza buffet, where you go in there and you can have your selection of about 10 different old pizzas that have been sitting under lamps, but I think it's a bottomless soda fountain, so that's a good deal. So you can't bring your own cups into it, though. They're adamant about that. So that's not really fair, but
I brought a sports cup. They said I could use it.
Yeah.
I keep getting distracted. I'm working on my Mikhail Gorbachev impression, and this
it's
is
like
coming
a baby one.
I'm distracted, Peas. That's what's so hard about doing this show on like a visual audience format, like letting them see. I'm vulnerable.
Gorbachev got a little one.
I am weak and I am vulnerable, and I am a victim.
Gorbachev got one from his first radio show too, and eventually, as he took over more and more of the Soviet Union, it just got bigger. So I think it's really a badge of honor, Dr. Fox, that you've gotten this mark of the radio gods upon thy skull, because it shows a blessing and a condoning of your last almost 4 years of performing on It's Time for the Show. You have the lowest number of rage quits of all the hosts. And I think that's something to be commended. Right there off the bat. And that's probably why you have that kiss of Jesus on your forehead right now. And as you radio and media empire expands, so shall the mark upon your skull. So let us hope one day it encompasses your entire dome.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up looking like the Red
And you'd
Skull
be so successful
from the comic books.
Children will look away in horror.
Like an angry Nazi. So
Children will look away in horror, but everyone will know the name.
children don't look away in horror from the Red Skull. They look up really close
A
and
little
want to know
bit.
how his nose works. That's how
He
children.
sort of has
All of
one.
this idea that like children are vulnerable, innocent creatures. No, that it's because they don't know anything that we keep getting into these situations. If it wasn't for children, the world very well could be much better off. Well, I don't know, maybe not for Chuck E. Cheese, but think of the Chuck E. Cheeses we could
what would
open
witches
instead.
What would witches eat? There has to be plump German children for witches to eat.
Plump German children. Well, I mean,
Yeah, Hansel and Gretel. You know, Hansel and Gretel. The whole premise of that fairy tale is that the witch is fattening them up for a delicious German smorgasbord later that week.
what is the moral of the story in Hansel and Gretel? Don't trust old women?
I think it's be respectful to your parents. Respect your parents even if they abuse you,
I think
because you
it's,
could get caught up by a witch.
Stay home and mind your own business. Keep your mouth shut, especially when it comes to food. That's another way. Yeah, witches are out for fat kids.
You think you got it bad with your
Chubby and your
stepmother?
lederhosen
Wait
there.
till the witch gets you. Wait till the witch in the wood gets you and fattens you up for a big Christmas ham. You'll wish your stepmother was telling you to dust. I think it's to frighten off runaways. And to keep hobos out of the woods.
Well, I mean, if a hobo finds a gingerbread house,
Yeah, he don't want no truck with that. Right away his hobo instincts kick off. I'm hungry
heard
for some
about this
gingerbread
before.
cookie. Yep, I'm
This
hungry
is a
for some
setup.
gingerbread cookie. But this is a trap. I'm gonna get down on the rails and see if I can't find me some stew. Maybe there'll be barbecue and sweet tea in the reception area.
barbecuing some sweet tea.
Yeah.
Is that what
It's
they're
called
doing?
boil it. Yeah, that's what Christmas
non-sweet.
sweet. Sweet tea technically is just barbecued water.
It's a taste infusion. I've definitely heard that about barbecue before. Bunch of pretentious jackasses. All right, let's see. You ready for which part of the show do you want to do?
Wait a minute, Dr. Fox, don't tell me you don't like the Q.
The
You
key-
gotta like the Q. You're a good old Southern boy down there in the South. You gotta like your baby Q. You gotta have some Q, boy.
the Q. The Q.
The Q. The Q.
Q.
You don't like yourself some
I
pulled
thought you were
pork.
making a Star Trek joke. I was lost. I didn't know. what
Don't
was
tell
going
me you
on.
don't like brisket. You gotta like brisket.
I mean, I could sit here. I don't know where we're gonna. Do you want to talk about the foods I do and don't like for the next 40 minutes? Because I am willing
Alright,
to do that.
let's go do
I do like food.
Go to your favorite part of the show.
Well, I was
just-
asking you. It sounded like your favorite part of the show was making fun of like the people where I come from. Like that's Indignant Peas. That's
Well, it was
Indignant.
Indigenous Peoples'
It
Day.
is.
It was.
Well, that one works too. Let's do the other one.
It was
Cube
Indigenous
News.
Peoples' Day.
It's-
Cube News.
it's
That's
Indignant
favorite
Peoples'
time of the
Day.
show. Yeah.
And so, what did you do to celebrate Indignant Peoples' Day today, Peas?
Well, I started out being pretty indignant at the Starbucks when they clearly gave me exactly what I ordered, but didn't anticipate my need for a double cup. So,
And the Starbucks,
call for the manager.
Is that your local casino tribe?
Yeah. The Pokemonans.
I see a joke there, but I'm not going to get into it because it's not funny.
Well, you've heard of their Chief Pikachu.
I'd like to
very dignified.
If you know what I'm saying.
He's a very dignified man. Good friends. Met him in Columbus.
Columbus?
Yeah, Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, I thought you were talking in Iowa.
Nah. They might have one too. You know, there's very few states in this great land of ours that don't have a Columbus of something. Columbus of Ohio, a university called Columbia. You know, so many things to honor this great man, smallpox, syphilis-ridden man, who really didn't discover America. He kind of discovered Haiti, and I think people have been trying to undiscover that ever since. But we've changed the name of the holiday.
The island has, yeah.
Yeah, so we've changed it. We've changed it to Indignant People Day, so that this is the day where you air your grievances. You air your grievances with the man, and this is. I think this is fair to everybody now.
All right. Well, then that leads us into my other favorite part of the show. I really wish we had graphics for that. That would be great. Send money. Let's see what we got here. Dear show, it's the mailbag. Is that the mailbag sound? Can you hear the mailbag sound?
Man, this guy got in a lot of trouble.
Song. We need like a mailbag theme song. So here we go. This week's letter comes to us from a viewer. Dear show, I hate Christoph Colombo. He is a racist monster who brought plagues and institutionalized discrimination on his free boat from the patriarchy. But what I really hate are all the goody two-shoes who won't criticize the Italians and the Spanish for all of their murder and rape along the entire Western Hemisphere. Why is it okay to hate one white guy following along with his societal norms, but not okay to crap on the people who made those norms the norm? And that's from Sally Trendsetter of Dull Point, Iowa. And I'll open that up to Time for the Show resident anthropologist and craft beer critic, Fid Chuli.
Be Indignant Peoples Day, everybody.
I'm glad you could show up on time for Indignant Peoples Day.
I can't believe Fid's on the fucking show.
I showed up at 10. I just kept my pie hole closed because it was like 30 seconds into the show, and you know that's the rule.
I feel like this writer's not even watched one episode of Columbo, and just she's going with the norm, what the flow is.
I've eaten a lot of Columbo yogurt though.
Yeah,
so
it's also a tasty treat.
That was a great question by the viewer, and I'm going to tease my answer by saying what I did to celebrate Indignant Peoples Day today. Okay. I actually woke up, I forgot it was Indignant Peoples Day today, so I almost didn't do anything to celebrate, but true story, I helped a cop today.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I did to celebrate Indignant Peoples Day.
When's that guy getting out of the hospital?
Yeah, so bike path intersects the street at a 90-degree angle, and at each entrance to the bike path from the street, they have these pylons that stand about 4 feet tall, and they're spaced about 4 feet apart. And it's just to keep motor vehicles from driving onto the bike path. But you can pull them up out of the ground. They're not stuck in there anyway, and that's for, when the county needs to send a vehicle down or when the cops occasionally will want to pass through. So I'm walking towards the street on the bike path, approaching the entrance to the bike path where the pylons are standing. There's a cop on the other side who was driving my direction, got out of his car to pull the pylon out of the ground so he could get his cop car through. And I waved to him. I said, "Hey, buddy, you coming through the other side?" And he goes, "Yeah, I am." I said, "I gotcha." And I pulled the pylon up and I waved him through. And then he waved at me. And he was definitely not an indignant person. So in celebration of Indigenous Peoples Day today, I supported the police.
That's super nice because a lot of indigenous
You
people have a
actually
lot of
opened up
encounters.
community to them.
Yeah,
You
a lot of indigenous
you
people.
literally moved a barrier for the police.
Yeah,
Literally let him through.
a lot of indigenous people have a very close and personal relationship with the police force, and so it's good that you were able to help that. He's probably going to help one of them right then and there.
I'd like to think I facilitated the shooting of a troublemaker today.
There you go.
On Indignant Peoples today. I hope it was somebody really indignant, you know.
I hope if you're lucky, it was an immigrant.
Well, that ties in nicely with the viewer's question,
Won't be on the news though.
which was, when are these brown people going to get their comeuppance? You know, the Spanish that came over here and stole land and committed genocide, and
Yep, all those brown people sure are living on high on the hog now, aren't they?
forced their culture on everybody. Yeah, and that's the thing. It didn't even work out for them.
We don't even have regular food anymore. All we eat is tacos.
If you're gonna commit genocide, at least get a return on your investment. Otherwise, you know, you're just murdering people, and that's not cool.
And all you have to show for it is Mexico.
Now you're gonna get us pulled peas. That was too far.
That was too far?
That was too far.
We're just answering the viewer's question. It was an earnestly asked question.
You're welcome, viewer, for this.
I'm not sure we answered it, but
No, we didn't. There's actually more to it. What was it? Well, they don't really ask a question here. Why is it okay to hate one white guy following along with his societal norms, but not okay to crap on people who made those norms the norm? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, but who's not hating on all white people?
A queen, right? So
Yeah,
I feel all white people.
The matriarchy sent him over.
I feel all white people are hating on Indignant People Day.
Well, you know, it's the one day a year where we take a step back and reflect. And then
Sorry for pillaging you.
and that's all, and that's what they do. I mean, I just for the past couple of years, just being a white guy, I'm called, you know, a racist. So I go, okay, I'm a racist, and they go, yeah, and I go, okay, now what? And they go, well, I don't know, it's your problem, you deal with it. So so today for Indignant Peoples Day, I'm just further cataloging where I'm at.
Pillaging would have been bad form today, right? If I'd have pillaged something, yeah. Like if you pillage something, it's bad. I get that. But if you pillage on Indigenous Peoples Day, that's like crapping in church or something, right?
That'd be like
more dem kind pillages, Bob.
Have you guys ever pillaged? I personally have never pillaged. Have you pillaged, folks?
Dabbled pillaging, but I never got serious about it.
I got
I just
minor in it. I didn't devote a whole semester.
I know a guy that has a group of friends that go pillaging, and like I went out with them one time, but I wouldn't call myself a pillager per se.
How about forced relocation of villages? I made some kids get off my lawn once. I don't know if that counts, but
Well, you know, you're saying it's yours when you started. Now,
a lawn. I made some kids get off a lawn. You're right. Thanks for correcting me, dude. You know, I gotta learn. I gotta learn. Yeah.
Keys has a sign in his yard that just says Africa and has an arrow pointing away from his house.
In every direction.
Well, if it was in every direction, then
joke.
they wouldn't all be away from your house, but
Right,
I'll let you slide on that one.
A couple important. You know,
180 degrees.
I take umbrage at that. I laugh at it because I enjoy a good jape, but I take umbrage because I like people from Africa. I talk to these Somali guys in email all the time, dude.
What do they say?
They've got this. First of all, they've had some troubles right off the bat. You got to know that.
So you can empathize with them.
Yeah, well, it's a war-torn country. This one guy's got a shitload of U.S. banknotes, but they're all black because they got covered in ink and stuff when they were attempted to be destroyed. But he's got a method that will take the ink off of the money and make it regular money again. And we're partners in that enterprise, and the fruits of that are going to be coming any day now. Let me tell you, I got a big crate of the black money, but he must have sent me some of the old juice to turn it into money, because all it did was make some of the paper wet, and not like in the hotel room when he described it to me. But yeah, I'm sure he said he's gonna next day air me some more of the juice, this time very fresh batch. Very fresh batch, Frank, very fresh batch. And I'm going to rush it, and the rush fee, of course, it's $250, but I'll be fine. Yeah.
Maybe just ejaculated it all over. Wait, black people's cum is black, right?
Like an octopus.
Or is it... I mean, mine kind of matches my skin tone, so I didn't know if...
Yeah.
No, never mind. I'll look it up later.
I didn't like my job that much anyway.
What, this one?
No. The one they'll haul me into the office tomorrow goes, is this you on the radio?
All right, I'll settle down,
Yeah,
please.
but that's not me on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I would say that. That's correct. And it was in Canada, so it shouldn't count.
I wasn't here. Let's see, you'll be in good hands because we got a winner today. We totally white people have successfully won Dave Chappelle. Congratulations!
We did it, everybody.
We got him. Yeah.
Well done.
I watched the closer, and I thought it was funny. And I think if you take Dave's whole arc of comedy, especially these 6 specials that he did for Netflix, and not break it apart into one or the other, that whole arc, people don't get this, all 6 episodes looked at a specific segment of society that we've been torn apart at, and one made it humorous, and two, people talk about punching down and all that stuff. I thought the transgender stuff was funny. I don't see why you got to be so upset about it. I'm not transgender, so maybe that makes me one of your oppressors. But that wasn't even the point of his story. The point of his story was that this poor human being had been bullied to death and took their own life, and that some of the trans community and the gay community participated in that killing. And that was the overall message in the veil of comedy that was given, and of course it was totally missed by everybody because it was indignant.
So don't tell me.
It was Indignant Peoples Day. It was Indignant Peoples Day, and so the people had to be indignant about it. But he did the same thing and was very poignant about gay black men in the last one. I support anybody to say whatever they want. I said some pretty horrific things on the radio today. Well, that's what people say. I think I prefer to be the term that I'm not going to say. I'm not confirming it. I don't waste.
Well, check this out. This is.
How is that possible? How is that possible? Dave Chappelle is a billionaire. Okay,
that makes him white.
Yeah,
that makes him white. He's a billionaire.
He sold out. Here's a quote. Too often in The Closer, which I haven't seen yet, it just sounds like Chappelle is using white privilege to excuse his own homophobia and transphobia. That was from NPR. That was from an article from today on Indignant Peoples Day on Chappelle. That Chappelle is using white privilege.
Where'd you buy it?
I sold him a little. I got a shitty YouTube channel with 300 subscribers. Woo! We did it, Pete.
Start calling cocaine white privilege.
Here's the worst thing about this all. People will say, because of my skin color and my age, then I'm not allowed to say that I thought Chappelle was funny, because I'm the whole reason that Chappelle left to begin with. Because white guys like me have always thought Chappelle was funny, and that's the problem. But when you phrase something like that, you're basically saying no one can have any opinion about this unless they're a trans person. And even the trans community is somewhat torn about what was said. I feel a lot of the message was lost. There was an outrage on this last episode when he talked about gay black men and the treatment that they get. It was another big part of this show was about how he said, man, he wished that black people were able to throw off the shackles and get the freedoms that gay people got in like 50 years. After 400 years, he says we should take notes from these guys because they white tracked it. The other thing he talked about is gay people using their white privilege and advantage to them.
Yeah, they get to switch.
And these are all important social issues, and they were all addressed through this Dave Chappelle's comedy. You know what it's going to be. It is his art. He is indeed an artist at doing this, and it's just sad that I can't voice it. I thought it was a great thing. I learned
it's problematic.
Why?
It upsets people because it's punching down.
It's violence. It's violence.
It's punching. It's literally punching.
It's
people
literally, yeah.
Well,
here's the thing. It's nothing new.
Not even specifically.
I don't know what punching down. I don't even know what punching down means, dude.
It's when you're unfairly making fun of somebody that can't come back at you because they're weaker or because they're of a lesser social status.
You ever seen a transgender person not get their coffee order right? They know how to defend themselves.
That's the problem. That's the problem. 2 points.
Oh, was that punching down? Was that joke punching down?
Yeah, because people that are oppressed, their voice isn't as loud as yours because you're white. So by making fun of an oppressed community,
with Dave Chappelle. I agree with Dave Chappelle, though. Transgender people have more rights than black people in this country.
Well, 2 points. First of all, it's nothing new.
Black people don't have their own bathrooms.
It's nothing new for stand-up comedy.
Not anymore.
It's nothing new for stand-up comedy to be the forum for social issues to be discussed because you have the veil of humor. Humor is kind of like the screen in between you and the lion on the TV that's going to keep the lion from killing you. We all are kind of like, the reason people went to zoos was because you got to see this vicious, wild, crazy fucking killing machine of an animal and get up close to it, but you were safe because there was bars. There was something protecting you from it, so you could get up close to it and be safe from it at the same time. Stand-up comedy has always served that purpose for social discussions, for things that are touchy subjects, because the humor is the steel bars in between you and that vicious animal that's an idea that you don't like. Now, the other thing is there's been this huge spike, you could imagine, in the word trans since Dave Chappelle's thing came out, trans community, the phrase trans community. And I never liked anything being called a community. Aren't individual trans people allowed to have their own opinions?
No.
About what it, or they all think they're all fucking robots? Okay, I get, now that seems kind of like racist to me, but I'm just white and
you're racist for no, dude, you're getting it wrong. You're racist for thinking that trans people have individual thoughts and aren't all united in a common cause for the benefit of them all. That's what's make you racist, is not understanding that. See, treating them as individuals is what makes you a racist.
Yeah.
I identify as a transcendental person. So I guess I'm trans too.
So
okay,
you're actually racist against all humanity. You're racist against all humanity. I get that. The consciousness. You're against consciousness.
I am.
And that leads me into. That's why you are the guru of all gurus of hypercubism, because you've learned not to think way before any of us even knew that we don't think.
More like the ew-roo.
Ew.
The uru of the guru.
Yeah.
Fid, do you think cherry sours is sour?
That's what sent him running from Hypercube. He figured it all out.
Yeah, I don't think cherry sours is sour.
Too much is better than not enough, but you better be ready for too much.
Yes, search on Redbubble for overpriced Super Sphere bath mats. Everybody.
How many cherry sours do you think I could fit in my mouth?
One less than makes you gay. Because you know where the line is.
You steal that joke from Dave Chappelle?
Stole it from 80.
That's appropriation. Oh, should we go to my other favorite part of the week? Let's do that one. My favorite part of the show is Reverend 80's Clean Joke of the Week. Brought to you by Uncle Reverend 80, who we yell at all the time because he's constantly coming up with jokes. And then we're like, oh, that was pretty good. Did you write that down? And he goes, no. And we're like, you write it down. Write it down. So to make sure that some of these are getting written down, I'm writing them down to ensure that this comedy legacy lives on.
Another task dumped upon you by your cast of friends and misfits.
That's the duty of
the show. Bastard.
That's the duty of the show.
I thought of something funny. Let me tell Dr. Fox so he can do the work. That's how it goes.
Writing material down, making him come up with it, and then I write it down, and then I tell the joke and take all the credit for it. That's how this works. I am Steve McQueen. All right, Pease, I got a joke for you.
Did you get my joke that I sent you?
Did you? When did you send me a joke? Was it a picture?
Over the weekend, I said I had a story about memes and me being stupid in front of somebody.
Was that your joke?
No, it was just a story I had. But go ahead, let's do your thing.
Well, yeah, okay. You want to hear a joke?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I like jokes.
What do you
I wish I had a radio show I could listen to.
I'm going to give you, like, the setup. And we're going to have, like, a dramatic pause.
All right.
And then we're going to have a punchline.
Right.
It's going to be pretty good.
That's what jokes are.
Ready for a joke?
Yep, here we go. Ready.
What do you call a cannibal that eats coma patients? A vegetarian.
Oh, the pause. I was thinking. I wasn't waiting for the pause.
You're not supposed to be thinking, Pete. That's the entire point of the show. Which leads me into my other favorite part of the show.
That was a good one.
It's where I'm going to read stuff that I had to write down. Which camera am I on tonight? I don't know.
Pease.
There's stuff in my book. There's stuff.
Pease has to put a nickel in the think jar. He thought.
He does.
You need a nickel falling into a mason jar sound effect every time somebody thinks.
Well, let's do our musical break. And I'll go get the jar and put the nickel in it.
Are you ready for the musical break already?
Yeah, of course. Look at what time it is. The time of the show is flying by on Indignant Peoples Day.
I don't know, Pease. I don't know if you've earned it.
Well, if I haven't earned it, it's more reason for me to have it.
Like we should have done that with the joke. Then we should have taken a break on the joke.
Do it over. We'll tell another joke when we come back. No, we'll tell the joke and then tell the punchline when we come back.
All right.
Use that same joke.
Okay. The same joke?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We'll tell the punchline and then give you the setup after the break. I think it's an even bigger tease.
We do that in music. You know, you have A B C C B A A B C C B A A B B B C C C C B A.
Nobody's interested in your genome sequence, okay?
That's a good reference, Fid.
Not really. It wasn't funny. It was just marked.
Scientifically accurate.
Right back.
the show where we do drugs. We do illegal drugs.
I was going to do some drugs, but then the jokes weren't ready.
I'm doing illegal drugs right now. Illegally.
I was hoping there'd be barbecue and sweet out there in the reception area, but they were.
Peas. Sweet tea is actually just barbecued water. Is one of the favorite things. You're actually my short of this for the next 24 hours. Just laughing. That was pretty good.
That was a good one.
Barbecued water, yeah.
Barbecue.
You're listening to Time for the Show, a production of Hypercube Laboratory. Find out more at www.hypercubego.com. You know, have all these recent weekly shout-outs like Subject King, Bob South, Caller 23, Dr. Cosmac, Michael Martin, Houselog, Scalpod, Clinton, Nord, Hazel, Lord, Long Dead, Negative, Night, the show is brought to you by Packslack.com, the website to buy things like eccentric goods from eccentric people. Get your fun novelty items crafted by insane subgeniuses mailed to you at Packslack.com. You can call yourself fucking soaps, yo. It is time for the show. That was Rubik's Cube. You love Rubik's Cube, don't you?
I wrote them some song words.
So yeah, you're going to be an upcoming celebrity. You've done it, Bees. You've made it to the big time.
Huzzah!
What are you going to do after you leave Hypercube?
I'm never leaving Hypercube, because once the pylon has been sat upon, it can never be unsittened.
He's going to start Awesome Octagon.
I think Joe Rogan actually has that one.
Hey, do you really have to give Caller 23 a shout out? I mean, you know he's only supporting you on Patreon to troll you, right?
That's what hurts about it, you know. It's the entire show is pain, and the main reason
I wish more people were hearing
it
this.
is because people expect it of me, and they expect it of me because they give me money. They hold it against me when I don't do the show. So really saying their names, all of their names, not just Caller 23, that's really my way of getting back and stabbing them for all of the pain that I have to endure for this. This is an exchange. It's comedy and it's an exchange. We broadcast out of Canada, so there's already an international exchange.
It's an exchange rate. That's why a lot of our jokes won't seem funny to you in Germany or Australia.
For every one of our hogs.
Or in the United States, because the exchange rate in the Canadian dollar is so high right now that we're not censored in a sense, but this is, if you were in Canada and listening to this broadcast and watching on YouTube, you would be on the floor laughing and scared that people would see you in that state. Whereas it's still funny everywhere else, but it's not Canadian funny. You know what I mean?
They're very sophisticated. And to comply with that, we're going to start doing half of the show in French. I'll just do the show over the air. How's that?
My rifles, he was cute.
That's the joke. Remember that one? Don't think isn't just a catchy slogan. It's a process, a system. It will ring through just about anyone's head every time some trivial brain fart resonates in their cranium. Remember, they hear from a soothing, disembodied voice, not much unlike their own. Don't think. Caught another one. They rejoice. It's nearly impossible to prevent thoughts from appearing due to thousands of prior generations utilizing them to artificially progress. The human brain did not naturally retard human evolution, despite the claims of countless so-called experts and authorities. So pull the piano wire tighter. Go by the gut. Formal education is a deception, a tool by the conspiracy. Several planetary superpowers already utilize thought suppression techniques to maintain dominance and superiority. Places like China, Laos, Vietnam, San Francisco, all psychic manipulators implementing the latest high-tech wizardry to subdue the population. So free yourself from the burden of not knowing what to do and don't think. That's what it's about. I went with planetary. I thought that was the best way to go, because when it comes to the flat earth debate, I'm not taking sides. My wife wrote that.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
If you don't think, you can't be brainwashed. That's the point. If you don't think,
But the
you
problem
can't
with
be
that joke is
brainwashed.
it's the thinker.
You can already see how the evil, dark side of psychoustics operations work. And when you have a foot, like a clawed foot, just a bunch of like tentacles on the ends of your toes, weaving through the psychic mesh around this planet in any shape it might be. Look at Hong Kong. China has don't think down to well, I'd say a T, but I don't think they have those in China. It's probably one of those little boxy letters that looks like a pagoda.
Little bent over house to win.
One of those.
bent
They
over
got
house
it down to one of those, one pagoda. One tiny pagoda. China's got it down. And they moved in where people were screaming, hey, please don't let them do this to us. And now all of a sudden, nothing. So, yeah, just you know, I'm the responsible one. I'm the nice guy. I'm the one that's not telling you to don't think. You know, I'm only reminding you that it's an option. I'm not telling
You're saying
you to do it.
roof your pagodas and thatch your hutches. Roof your pagoda and thatch your hutches.
How many pagodas does it take to fill a hutch?
That's how, well, I'm just saying that's how they say it in China. They're like, you know, you don't say cross your eyes and dot your T's. You say roof your pagodas and thatch your hutches.
That's your hutch.
Yeah, that's how they know to take extra care with stuff. Because they don't
Thatch your
think,
hutch.
dude. Does it make sense? Because they don't think. They go down
Like
like
that's
that.
my hutch.
Yeah.
And then she said, that's not my husband, it's my hutch thatching.
Jake
Oh wait,
Giles.
I did it backwards, right? It's supposed to be her husband. I meant to do that. For the record.
Show these, please.
Why did Quasimodo never get a thatch job? Because he took his hutch back.
Just wearing his brother's dress. I think he wanted to wear that. He was misunderstood.
Yeah, I think Aladdin got reincarnated as Quasimodo for those nasty things he said when he was masturbating on Jasmine's porch.
They did that on SNL. They did it really good.
Shit.
Kim Kardashian. It's a real poignant.
Jimmy Fallon was Aladdin.
No, that new funny guy, the kid with looks like he's got heroin abuse with the dark
New
circles on
funny
his
guy
eyes.
on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, it's not, but he's not very funny.
Well, I was about to say, because at first you could say the funny
King of Staten
guy.
Island. Who's the guy who went out with Ariana Grande? Pete Belichick or something.
King Taco. Yeah, Steve Belichick.
Yeah, Steve Belichick. I'm pretty sure that's
The
what
Belichick twins.
His dad was in a movie called The King of Staten Island. He's got a lot of tattoos.
Is it like a Marvel movie?
Nah, it's on television. You probably haven't seen it.
I'm scared of that stuff.
Yeah.
Taint pans, you know?
We are radio
What makes you
people.
think? exposing yourself to culture, it's not going to do you any good. It's a waste of time. Box yourself in. Hypercube.
Look at Dave Chappelle.
What is a box but just, a smaller...
Actually, just stay plugged into Facebook so that you know what to be outraged about next. Because many times before I had a Facebook account and a presence on Facebook, I was never sure what I should be outraged about. One of the great boons of my life, and I try to get Fid to join Facebook just so that he knows what he can fucking rebel and be outraged by every morning. I wake up and immediately I know what I'm outraged by. And that's a great thing, and I feel like we're just not utilizing it correctly.
Well, what made you rage today, Pete, on Indignant Peoples Day?
Well,
when you performed your obligatory mandated task of signing into social media, what set your Tinder ablaze? Your Tinder.
I was mad. Yeah, I shook my fist at the sky because I didn't think that people understood Dave Chappelle's show.
Like that's what people were talking about on the internet today.
Right, and people, like I said, I feel a lot of people are outraged they didn't watch the show. A lot of these outrages are coming from a place of, I should just be outraged because I know he did some jokes about transgender, and that's not cool.
When NPR says that Dave Chappelle is using white privilege, I need to see this special.
Well, that seems kind of ridiculous to me. And the thing about it is I think the only thing I disagree with, you will be, and the thing about it is, the only thing that disappointed me the most at the end of it, he's like, well, I'm never going to tell another LBG, XY, transgender joke ever again. And I think that angered me more than anything else, because I understand you need your rights, but everything that we do now is erasing everything that's gone by. Lenny Bruce did racist humor. Richard Pryor did racist humor. Johnny Carson did. Everybody has done, and I don't even feel comfortable calling it racist humor. They have done humor based on groupings of people and based on stereotypical cultural observations that people in all groups might have had, but were mostly associated with a particular group at a particular time. And as a society, we've outgrown that, but part of it, I think this is Fid was talking about earlier, you know how we outgrew that and got where we were today? By using comedy to break down those barriers, to make it, the whole concept of interracial marriage was an atrocity for years and years and years, until people started doing jokes about it, and they did television. Now it's the most common thing in the world. No one even thinks about it. And that's because of comedy. That's because of art.
It's being equated to as hate speech.
But how can it be hate speech if out of it came more acceptance? And that's what I'm saying. Out of these horrific comedy bits,
acceptance isn't coming out.
Well, because here's why. Comedy.
How is that not true? How is that true? 40 years ago, 50 years ago, you could not be openly transgender, okay? Now, not only are you accepted as a transgender, but you're embraced as it.
You were black.
Now you can, though. Part of it was because they said, that black guy's funny, let's let more of them guys in the bar.
The thing is, you have to take a more complicated understanding of it. It's like comedy is kind of like society's alcohol. People have been using alcohol at get-togethers and social events for thousands and thousands of fucking years because it loosens you up and it makes you more sociable and it releases inhibitions and things like that. And comedy kind of does that when it comes to ideas that are hard to talk about. It gives you it gives you a lube. But just like with alcohol, there are angry drunks. There are sad drunks.
Sure.
There are people that, like, the alcohol doesn't have the effect that, in general, over the course of the last several thousand years of humanity, where it has been used as a social lubricant across all cultures around the world since the fucking Stone Age. But you do have these incidents of people that are bad drunks and they just shouldn't drink because they always turn into assholes or they always cry or something fucked up like that, right? So, yes, in society, you're going to have both effects. You're going to have the thing that we've had going this entire time with humor, whether it's stand-up comedy or satire presented in any medium, whatever it is, where it gives us a safe way to engage ideas that are otherwise uncomfortable, just like alcohol does that when it comes to loosening inhibitions. But at the same time, you're going to have the bad drunks. And you're always going to have those. But the thing is, we shouldn't let that fucking ruin it for everybody else. It's the worst sin of all is when a small group of people ruin a good thing for everyone else. And comedy is the last place, humor in general is the last place that should be subject to that. It should be our refuge to get away from all that. That should be the safe space. We shouldn't be treating the words of comedians the way that we're treating somebody who's running for the Senate. We should hold them to different standards, and in fact, that should be the last fucking safe base, to appropriate a term, for being able to openly talk about ideas that we find that we have some tension around as a society. And if we're attacking that, we're going to have nowhere else to go. That's it. That's like when somebody takes out your bomb shelter before they take out your house. You can't hold up, and the whole point of having the bomb shelter was that you get the fuck out of the house where you were exposed. So it's dangerous. But again, it is a little bit more complicated than just one or the other. It still is both at the time.
There's a lot of different sides to it. You know, comedy's also a social barometer. You know, and or as long as there's been like live recordings to go back and go over for just the broadcast history, the controversy ranging from the topics that are being said to the language being used, and there's been some concessions in free speech over the past couple of years, down to the point that you can't express this idea if it uses any of this language. You cannot broadcast that. It has to at minimum be censored. And where comedy really reflects where we are, which something like, I haven't seen the new Chappelle thing, but like the last one, and like a lot of other very recent stand-up specials, you know, it's a reflection of where we are. And the reaction that comedy has been getting for the past 10 to 15 years is depressing, because the entire, I'm saying they, I don't like that, but the conspiracy is showing people that comedy is dangerous, and they've bought into it. That making a joke is the same as making a racist statement or a hateful sentiment. There's no differentiation between the two. And I kind of like your alcohol comparison there, but it's also, you know, you can dole some of that alcohol out. You know, it's comedy is a tool, and in the hands of certain people, it can be used to subvert people. You know?
Yeah, to your point, it's not that these ideas haven't always been around. It's that when you go to the party, it's usually the one guy that's the bad drunk. But we're living in a society now where the bad drunks outnumber the people that are just having a good time. It's the same alcohol.
Sure.
It's not the alcohol.
They don't understand how to use it as a tool, and they don't understand the effects of it when they use it. That's definitely a large part of that. We've seen that in the subgenius community, which that's a fun word to say. The subgenius community. We've seen that just where people are egging on each other, and they're just fucking with each other. And the idea is like, well, it's joke. And there's no joke. There's no setup. There's no punchline. So it's people just like that that are, like, you'll find those a dime a dozen at any open mic night. People that just get up and start talking. And what's funny is just hearing the inane shit that comes out of their mouths. That's what's
Well,
funny.
yeah, the setup to their joke is, you know what's fucked up, and then the punchline is something that they hate. That's not a joke. It's funny to them. If the audience was full of a bunch of clones of him, he would be killing it. But the thing is, you're talking to society at large, and you're the individual. And so you gotta kind of, like, expand. You have to have a personality, but you have to have a point of view that's accessible by mainstream society or general society, even if it's not agreed with by them. But it has to be accessible. They have to know what you're talking about. The context has to be something that everybody's experienced. And that's the first part of where you bring people together. Because a good comic doesn't bring up shit that's esoteric. A good comic brings up shit that's on everybody's mind. So they can immediately relate to it, whether they agree with it or not. And if the joke makes sense, if it's mechanically sound as a joke, then they won't care whether they agree with it or not, because they'll get the joke. That's how it used to work.
Well, you learned that first day of clown school.
What was your clown name?
Professor Pease.
That was my least favorite part of the show.
Well, it's time for my favorite. It's where Pease apologizes. Pease, tell the kids at home why you're sorry this week.
Oh, I'm sorry about this big old bag of trick-or-treat candy from my neighbors next door so they don't rob me, because I keep eating it, and I'm worried by the time Thanksgiving comes, it's just going to be filled with empty wrappers and shit. I'll still give it to them, but I'll probably be sorry. Well, kids, I'm sorry that the show was so hilarious and funny tonight. I know you expect a more somber and serious show, but that wasn't tonight's. We were filled with all kinds of bits and skits and pratfalls and wackadoos and shenanigans. Man, I wish we could start all over and do the show all over again.
Bits, skits, and tits.
Nobody rides for free.
Nobody laughs for free.
Sorry,
Alright,
through my
sticker
apologies.
available at Hypercube.
Like making commercials for unforeseen bumper stickers during the apologies, but nonetheless, I'm sorry Dr. Flix's was assailed with Gorbachev's disease, which, of course, as you know, is bound to happen to anybody who's controlling the media empire, the stench and breath of all of California's America. We're here at the last part of the show, and I'm a little spun up from the candy. I had a good time talking to my handsome devil, Fid Chuli, the leader of the Truly Chulies. And of course, as always, it's wonderful to be in the presence of my good friend, Dr. Argus Q. Fox, not an Esquire. And that, kids, is our show. And this was a wonderful Indigenous Peoples Day. And I would just encourage you all to go watch an episode of Columbo and tell me if you just don't think it's the most delightful show you've ever seen.
All right, sounds good. Fid, you got anything for the kids?
Always, kids, don't do any drugs that I wouldn't do.
That could be your
wanna-
catchphrase.
Fid, you want to hang out for a little bit on Free Think and talk a little bit more about comedy?
I'm in, buddy.
All right, well, Pease will let you go get your din-din supper times. And I'll remind everybody. Hypercube Laboratory. We broadcast every week on freakingradio.com. Thanks to Dr. O's and Martha Arthur. By the way, for joining us. Stay tuned on Weekly Radio for Dr. Fox's Chopping Block.
Why? He only wants to talk to Finn. He doesn't want to talk to Geeks. Just Finn. Oh, Finn's so nice and special.